Keynote pages or numbers stuff into Canvas as well. So we're going to try and hit both. And then I am going to go through things, I'm going to say a little quickly just because we have a half hour, but I am going to not only put this in the Canvas course, but I'm going to provide videos that go more in depth on both topics with this in Canvas. And Nicole is going to take a screenshot of who's here so that I can email you guys after the fact those same resources. So just in case everything goes completely sideways, we can do that. So.
And we're both available for questions too. So
yes. Stacy and Carrie are excited.
Oh, I think they're waving at each other. That was
I was like, I'm going to give them that moment. They can wave. All right. So I'm going to start with Google Cloud assignments. And before I start screen sharing, just a little bit about kind of the purpose of each of these things. So the when and why you would use it is kind of for those moments, and Nicole, tell me if I leave something out, for when you're kind of using a template, like you've pre-created something in a Google Doc or a Google slide, or maybe in Pages, Numbers, or Keynote, that you kind of have a specific outline or look for, that you just want students to fill in that information. So this isn't like they start their own Google Doc or their own slide and then go. This is, I've created something that I kind of want. It's almost like if you've used a force copy before, essentially it's a very similar thing, but it does it for you. So you don't have to create that force copy link. Okay, so I'm going to screen share.
Feel free at any time to type a question in the chat.
Yeah,
so while Kim is presenting, she can't see that. So I will interrupt her with questions. But we will have pauses that will have time for questions as well, because we're kind of breaking this into chunks to make it less overwhelming, hopefully.
All right. Let me grab that. Okay. So thumbs up. You guys can see my screen?
You're good, Kim.
Awesome. So I'm going to go into just my training course, and I have actually already started just a module that I'm going to use for this. I have not done anything to either of these assignments. I literally just did the plus and set assignment. So we're going to start with Google Cloud. So if you were to create an assignment in Canvas, which you can do from the modules page over in assignments, and I'm going to go into the edit screen. Most of this is going to be the same as any other assignment. In this directions box, you can put, some extra information about what you want them to do, or you might have that information in the actual Google slide or Google Doc that you're kind of embedding into this assignment. This box might be a good place to put directions for how they're supposed to use this type of assignment. Things like, click the blue link below. It will open in the Slides app. You'll see what I mean when I show that. But this would be maybe a good opportunity to kind of tell them how they're going to work on the assignment. And then inside the doc or the slides, you could give the actual directions of what they're supposed to do for the assignment. However you want to do it is fine. Just a couple of tips. So I am just going to type, click the blue link below, and
only once.
Yes, thank you. Only one time, which will explain why, and make all edits in your Google Slides. All right, so for the submission type, this is the big how the magic happens. So you can set your points if you want, but the submission type, we're used to kind of going straight to online, which is where we get those options. But for a Google Cloud assignment, which is what we're going to talk about first, it's actually going to function like an external tool. So that's the option that we're going to choose from the drop-down menu. We're going to choose external tool. Then it's going to create this little box here where it looks like you're supposed to put a link, but we're actually going to click find. And when find pops up, you're going to scroll through, and if you're using like a Mac, you're going to see that there's like this internal scroll bar that you kind of have to find because sometimes it doesn't look like you can scroll, but you can scroll. And we're going to look for the thing that says Google Docs Cloud Assignment. Now, I know it says Google Docs, but this works with both Docs and slides. And actually, the example that I'm going to show you is with a slide. So when I click on that, if you've not signed in before, it may ask you to authorize. I have already signed in. And I know exactly what the slide presentation I'm using is. So I'm going to just grab that. And once you have it, you're going to hit submit. And then you do actually have to hit select. So I find the Google slide, I hit the submit, and then I'm going to hit select. And then it's going to auto-fill this link box. Okay, so now the magic has happened. And I'm going to hit save. So on the teacher end, you're going to see that that slide has been embedded on this page. And there's this blue link that I'm talking about. But to really show you what this looks like and how this is different and why we broke this into the high school and into K-8 is because I want to show you what this looks like on the iPad. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So that's as simple as it is. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, you're good. So Kim, while you're transferring, just so you know, she added the slides, but you can do any of the Google products. You could do a Google Doc, you can do Google Sheets. All of those pieces will be able to be added in the Google Cloud assignment. It does say Google Docs when you're searching, but you can add any part, just so you guys are aware of that. And if you just joined, Kimmy already said she's going to be sharing resources on setup. There are guides and videos on how to do this. So I know some of you are frantically writing notes. You'll also have those resources to fall back on and us. So,
well, the iPad is doing exactly what I thought it was going to do.
So no, we do not need to do it.
Fun fact, guys, I'm failing at sharing my iPad right now. But as we transition, which I know Mr. Wilson's lovely email about Zoom being completely down right now, but it is like 100 times easier to share your iPad in a Zoom call than it is in a Google Meet. I'm going to try one more time, but I might fail at this. So in that case, I'm just going to show it from the computer, and then I'll explain how it's different on the iPad. So
while you're doing that, Angie asked a question about do we need a force copy or anything like that? You do not. This is actually like a workaround for that. This provides, when the students click the link, that blue link, and that's why Kimmy wrote in the directions, only tap once. It creates a copy for them. That's essentially what you're doing. They are not working in a collaborative document. It creates their own version of it. And what Kimmy was going to show you was how, when they tap that, how it bounces to Google Slides. So
I'm gonna show student view on the computer because I want you to at least see the submit button, and then I'll try to explain. Hopefully my iPad will come up in a second. So I'm gonna go back to explaining. This is just the life that you guys are going to be living for the near future. So
we're just showing you. We're just showing you your future.
This is like a historical reenactment of what's to come. Terrible insanity. All right. So I'm a student right now, and I'm going to go to that assignment. So in the student view of this, you're going to notice, hopefully, that I still get that same preview, but now do you guys see how I have this submit button right here? So the students are going to have this preview of it, and they're going to have this submit button, but I put this direction, click the blue link below only one time and make all your edits in Google Slides. So if I click it right now, it's actually going to bounce me into Google Slides. When you're on the iPad, it's going to bounce you into the Google Slides app. Okay. So it's the same bounce. They just click it. And so what I want you guys to see is I'm going to type in here, Apple and 1, and 1. And I'm just showing you this as I'm typing here. Watch what's happening in Canvas. These have automatically connected. And so I didn't have to have a force copy link or anything. This is Canvas automatically did this for me. So I don't have to go and find a file and upload and share and all that. When I'm done as a student and I'm done making my edits in Google, all I have to do is go back to Canvas and just hit this submit button. So when I hit submit as a student, that will be in there. And so then if I sign out, hold on. And I go in as a teacher. Once they submit, the nice thing about this is when it goes into SpeedGrader, it submits it as a PDF file, so they can't keep making changes. So it's nice because, you know, if it's a Google slide, they can kind of like live change stuff. So once they hit submit, it will submit that. Now they could submit again, but it would show you like the multiple submissions over here. So that is kind of what it does. Now, when we said in here to only click the blue link one time, essentially clicking this link is kind of like making a force copy. So if instead of like once they click it once and they have to keep making changes, once they click it once, they'll always make their changes in the Google Slides app. But when they're ready to submit, they'll come back to Canvas and hit submit. If they keep clicking this, it will keep making copies. And then they may have been doing work on the first copy and then hit it a bunch of times and they'll be like, oh, my work's gone. And their work's not gone. They've actually just made like 5 copies of the same document. So they only have to click the blue link once. Then they're going to do all of their work in the slides or the docs or the Sheets app. And then when they're done, they're going to come back to Canvas and hit submit. Is that clear as mud?
Great job, Kimmy.
Okay. Trying to see what my...
Any questions on that so far, guys?
Questions so far about cloud assignments? Basically, it works the same whether you're in ClassLink or in the Canvas student app. In the Canvas student app, it'll have a blue bar at the bottom that says Launch External Tool. And then when they tap on that, they'll get that preview of the slide with the blue link. They just click the blue link. It bounces them into slides, make all my edits in slides. File. They don't have to do a file upload. You don't have to make a force copy link. It's kind of all done automatically.
Sherry, did you have a question?
Yeah, it's probably a dumb one, but so it's once they're working in the app and slide, it's going to automatically save for them like it normally would. And I can definitely foresee kids making 5 copies. It's still going to save all 5 copies if they have to. Okay.
Yes, they just have to find the one that has their work in it. So yeah, and submit the right one. Kim, we also another question. Do students have to log into Google within Canvas to do this? So they have to have their Google account enabled?
Yes, they have to have it enabled. And I think the first time that they click the link, it may ask them to authorize. So when they tap authorize, then it'll say like, is this you? And it'll have like their Google name. They tap on it, hit allow. So it may go through those steps just like anything in Google. So yes, that is a thing that can happen. My iPad is currently working, but I don't want to go anymore on Google Cloud because I feel like we showed it good enough. So I'm going to switch to Apple, if that's okay with everybody. All right. So hopefully this works. Fingers crossed.
So Kimmy's going to be showing you now how to utilize features like in apps like Keynote, Numbers, and Pages within Canvas. So sharing basically a template with those apps in Canvas and how students complete work and submit work.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that I'm going to use Keynote, but this process is exactly the same whether you've made something in Keynote, Pages, or Numbers. So in Keynote, I made I actually made this a while ago. So this is just kind of a little template that I want students to be able to fill out. So this is something that I already have ready to go, and it's saved on my iPad. Okay, so this is, because it's saved on my iPad, I can locate it. It's a file. Okay, and so the key is in Canvas, you guys already saw that I made the shell of that assignment on my computer, right? I already made it. So the key is to get the assignment ready so that when you're on your iPad, the only thing you have to do is put the file in, okay? And that'll make more sense in a second. So I'm going to go through ClassLink. I was logged in. Okay, so on my computer, I already made the assignment. I already did like all the settings. Let's pretend I put in all the directions. I put in the points. It's an online submission. So let's say I set all of that up on the computer already. So that's this Apple iWork assignment. And I'm gonna hit edit. So I already, put directions here. And again, I like the directions for this piece to be the process of how you open it and then how you submit it. But the directions for your actual assignment can be on the template itself. So I like to use the Canvas directions box on here's how you're going to open this, and then here's how you're going to turn it back into me. And then when they actually have the thing open, in that it'll say like, this is what you're actually doing in this assignment.
Or you could consider adding a video portion prior to on a page previous to this, and then they know like when they hit next, now it's going to be the actual doing of it.
All right, so for this one, the submission type is online and it's a file upload. So this one isn't anything fancy. There's no external tool or linking or anything like that. This is just a file upload. The reason that we're doing it or showing you this is it's just a little bit different. So just like you've ever uploaded a PDF or any other file in Canvas, I'm going to tap on files on the right. But because I'm on my iPad, if I go to upload a new file and then choose file, it's actually going to access what I have on my iPad, like my Photos app, my photo library, or if I tap browse, it's actually going to access my files, keynote pages, numbers, any files that I've saved on my iPad. So there's that template that I had. I'm going to go ahead and tap on it and then hit done. Just kidding. There we go. Maybe. Why is that not going, Nicole? Oh, it's asking me to rename. I don't want to rename it. There we go. I just needed to tap on it. I was tapping on the wrong spot. Sorry. All right, so you can see that it's kind of there holding next to where it says choose file. So when I hit upload, it's going to appear in the box, and I'll know that it's the right file because if it's Keynote, it'll be .key. If it's pages, it'll be .page. If it's numbers, it'll be .num. So now I'm going to hit save. So now that's in there. Now I'm going to switch to being a student. Now this one for students, they have to use the Canvas student app. This only works in the student app. It does not work in ClassLink. So just giving you a heads up about that. Just like markup only works in the app, this only works in the app. So I'm going to open the Canvas student app, go into this course, find the assignment. So here is the assignment. There would be my directions, and there's the link to that file. When students tap on that link, it will give them a preview of it. And then when I tap the share square in the top right corner, I will choose copy to Keynote. If this was a page, it would say copy to pages. If this was numbers, it would say copy to numbers. So when I hit copy to Keynote, it's going to automatically open in Keynote on my iPad. And now I, as the student, can make changes and do anything I want. It is my version automatically. This is not linked to anybody else's version. And now I can add my images, my text, my anything else that I want. Nicole, is there anything I've missed so far?
No, I think you're doing a great job. Maybe we can talk here briefly about some of the additional features that are enabled then if you're using the Apple apps, such as using your markup tools, adding and doing animations. If you're familiar with Keynote, then you'll know that piece, but you can do additional animations and such via Keynote as well. And then we could talk about multiple submission styles according to what you're doing. So,
yeah, so as much as you can use the Google products, and obviously that's why we showed you the Google Cloud and assignment, there are some things that because the kids have iPads that you're limited to using the Docs app or the Slides app. So if you're wanting to get into something a little bit more multimedia where they're adding video, where they're adding multiple images, maybe they want to add a drawing, and you have lots of different components on one page, that's something that doesn't really work well in the Google products on the iPad. And so I would lean more toward using the Apple products when you're kind of trying to put multiple means of media on the same document. So with that said, there's kind of two main ways that they can submit it. Obviously, the whole point of having them do this in Canvas is so that after the fact, I have one place where I can grade all of the work, right? That's the best thing about SpeedGrader. I can go through and look at all the assignments and I can grade them. So Canvas's favorite file type across the board, whether you're a Google school, an iPad school, a Chromebook school, a Microsoft school, Canvas loves PDFs. PDFs is a universal file type. They're easily readable. And so the best way for students to submit this, and this would be maybe part of those directions, or like Nicole said, a screen recording of them doing this. So I'm going to pretend like I'm a student right now turning this assignment in. So in this case, I don't have really any multimedia. I don't have anything that's going to play or move or listen to on this. So I'm going to actually tap on the three dots. And instead of hitting share, I'm going to hit export. And then I'm going to choose a PDF. And I can then hit export. And this student app icon is going to pop up automatically. When I tap on that, it's going to detect that I have to choose a course and the assignment. I can also add a comment here as well. So I'm going to choose my course. It's the Marshall Tech Training one. Choose my assignment. It's the Apple iWork one. So I make sure I'm turning it into the right place. And then all I have to do is hit submit. And I should get a little notification that says it was successful, but I can always go back to the app. And if I refresh this, it'll now say successfully submitted. And I, as the student, can preview my submission to make sure that it was in there. So it's in there. And on the teacher end, if I was to switch over to teacher view right now, I should be able to go into SpeedGrader. And there it is. So if you want to be able to get the preview of it in SpeedGrader, they have to turn it in as a PDF. If they just share it, you're going to get a Keynote file or a Pages file or a Numbers file, and then you're going to have to download them to see what they had, which isn't terrible, I guess, if you're elementary because you don't have as many students. But for secondary, you're going to be downloading like 100-something files, and that's gross.
Christy and Andrew, my students, are very well versed in this, so you should be good to go if you wanted to go this route. What I like about PDFs in SpeedGrader is that you get those tools at the top, and then you can annotate on their work, which is awesome. So,
sorry, I'm switching back and forth. Another option, let's say that the assignment did have multimedia. It had video, it had a drawing that moved, it has sound, it has those things that, wow, this is really why I want to use Keynote in the first place. So instead of this being a file upload assignment, I would change this to be a media recording assignment. And I'm going to hit save. So I'm going to really quick, just for the sake of showing you, I'm going to drop a video on here. So there's a video, right? And it would play. So because this has media in it now, I'm going to actually export, instead of as a PDF, I'm going to export this as a movie. So I'm going to export this as a movie, hit export. And I'm still going to get that same submission option of the assignment. It's already in there because I selected it last time. And I'm going to hit submit. And now on the teacher end, oh, it might not have gone through yet.
While she's looking for that, just so you guys know, when you're submitting, when the students are submitting, it remembers the previous course. If you're doing everything in your homeroom course, that course will stay there. They don't have to search for that every single time.
Don't know why I got signed out. Hold, please.
Just while she's doing that too, if you noticed, she had changed that submission style for video type submissions to a media recording instead of a file upload. A file upload will allow them to submit a video, for example, to you, but if you've seen student submissions that you have to download the movie or the video for, which you're seeing heads nodding, that's why. It's because you've chosen a file upload. If you change it to media recording, it will play in SpeedGrader just for any sort of video. Tina, are you asking if students will have to log in and accept the course for all of your courses? Is that your question?
Okay, it's failing because I switched the file type in the middle of this, and it's not liking that I did that. But otherwise, it would work if that was the first time you did it, and the students would just submit the video, and then I would get the preview of the video in SpeedGrader instead of having to download the video file. So it's the same process. And the two videos that I'm going to share with you guys after this both go over the Google Cloud assignment on the iPad and using an Apple iWork assignment on the iPad. So once the kids have done it once or twice, they've got it figured out. Adrian, I know that you used to do this all the time with your numbers sheet, right? They would turn those in for PE. So once they figure it out, they've got it figured out. It's just a matter of making sure that they either turn in that PDF so that you can get that preview of it in SpeedGrader. So it's just a couple of steps the first time they kind of learn how to do it. But once they do it, it's pretty simple. Is there anything I need to show?
What's that, Kimmy?
Can I stop sharing, or is there something else you want?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay.
So basically, I think you guys have a hard decision to make. Are you going to be googly or are you going to go Apple iWorks? So, because I think it'd be kind of tricky for you and your students to navigate both worlds. So I think just kind of committing to one of those is probably going to benefit all of you, students and you. Any questions? Canvas. So, Christy, you had a question about having kids go to Canvas student app rather than ClassLink. That would be recommended if you were doing the iWorks apps, yes, because that is how they submit those.
And also any PDF markup.
PDF markups and iWorks templates that you'd be utilizing, that you'd go Canvas student app for that. Otherwise, you're pretty open to either option.
Yeah, Google Cloud works in both, but the other two only work in the app. Stacy?
So if you're working and you have your kids through ClassLink, but you have a PDF in one of your assignments in your module, can you right at the top go launch the Canvas app and do this assignment and come back? Like, is that how people normally have them flip back and forth, or do you normally just do it?
Stuck to one always. And did that always and forever, but that was just for all of our comfort.
So did you stick to the app?
You absolutely can.
I did the app always, yes.
Is there anything that the kids would encounter in the app that they can't? Is there anything in the app that the kids can't do?
If you're more Google heavy, then I would stay in ClassLink.
Okay.
And if you want to flip for those certain things, like a PDF markup, then flip.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
It's just your kids having to learn a little more.
Well, I think just some kids just go ahead and select that app because they see it and they're like, oh, that's what I need. But I've always taught my kids to go through ClassLink because I'm more Google heavy. So
there you go. Yep.
Thanks.
There you go.
So Tina's question was, do students have to log in and accept courses in Canvas and not, sorry, well, okay. So no, they do not. Only if it's a course that's created like library, like media. The courses that are created from Skyward, the students do not have to accept courses.
They may have to add them to their dashboard though, if they're not favorited. So those stars, when they go to courses and then all courses, they may have to fill in the stars to choose what is visible on their dashboard. So
if you're
not on their dashboard does not mean that they're not enrolled.
And if you're using the app, make sure they go to see all. And then it will allow them to see all the courses there as well. So that if students are saying that to you in either version via ClassLink or the app, it's probably because they don't have them either favorited on their dashboard or they just need to tap see all in the app. Any course not popular? Yep. Does Canva work in Keynote? I feel 50-50 on what to do. We are using Google Slides, but submit PDF files too. It's a little confusing. Yeah, it's a personal preference. It really is. It's what you typically build in. I was really heavy into the Apple apps. I have a Mac and I had an iPad, and so I liked the way those two things worked together. I liked to airdrop things to my students, all of those things, and so it just really jived for me to do all the iWorks apps. And that was what I was also most familiar with. And so that's the way I went. I also really liked the things that Keynote could do, making things multimedia. It allowed students to turn in and submit and create things that worked for them. And they had a little bit more student choice there, but that was like, we were working with animations and Magic Move and adding videos and those types of things. And so that was really important for me for them to have access to it.
And also I echo everything that Nicole said, but I wouldn't take yourself out of your comfort zone right now. Like,
yeah, I agree.
In your comfort zone right now. So if you're used to doing Google, stick in Google for the moment. Just know that there's other things out there and that the Google apps on the iPad are limited because we can do so much more in Google on our computers because we have the desktop version of them. So if you're wanting to do those more interactive, more creative projects, that's where the Apple iWork apps can afford you those opportunities. And so there's definitely reasons to use both. If I was still teaching, I would use both because nobody beats Google on the share on the collaborative front. I'll admit that 100%, 10 times over. Google's got the corner on the market on collaboration. But in terms of multimedia, design, and creativity, I definitely lean more toward Apple. So, and also, like Nicole said, we both have Macs. And so if you're a Mac user, it's even easier to take those assignments and put them right in Canvas. If you're an HP user, it's probably easier for you to take Google products and Google things and put them right in Canvas. So it's totally personal preference at this point. We're not asking anybody to jump outside your comfort zone, but it's one of those things, if we don't tell you about it, you'll never know it exists. So, if and when you feel like I want to try something new, I want to try something creative, that's why we're here. That's why we're your coaches. And that's what we can do with you.
But Kimmy's right. Just stay
I love you.
in your comfort zone. That was good, Christy. Can you do that again? Also, if your entire team is using Google, you're probably going to stick with Google with them, just so you guys can collaborate easier as well and share with each other. So take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, and Nicole's probably going to give me a face for saying this, but there is like a really good Google surprise coming soon. Nicole and I and all of you are just so overwhelmed that we haven't talked about it yet because I think we're all near crying. So, but there is something that's similar to the cloud assignment, but it's like even better and even easier that you guys are really gonna like. And we'll probably talk about it in a couple weeks. But yeah, just know there's more good things coming. But we don't want to, we're overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed, and we're gonna call it good.
Yeah. So we'll touch with that later.
Yeah. Anything else before we end? We went a little over, but if there's any other questions. All right. And I will send those, either I'll send you guys those resources or I'll just reference the fact that they're in the e-learning academy course with this video recording.